Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We're going to call the September 19th, 2024 council meeting to order. Madam Clerk, pledge, please.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain standing for a moment of silence for Carlo Ferreira, a long politician and definitely a person that everybody knew and was very well loved by everybody. Thank you. Wrong word to use, politician, a public servant.
Roll call. Councilman Asbill?
Present.
Councilman Buddy?
Present.
Councilman Chatelain?
Present.
Councilman Johnston?
Present.
Councilman Ricks is absent. Mayor Baudier?
Present.
Police Chief LaPree?
Present.
Fire Chief St. Cyr is absent. Finance Director Todd Turnion?
Present.
City Attorney Scott Stansberry?
Present.
Myself, Carrie Hustis, Clerk, is present. Mayor's announcements.
Just to kind of echo Councilman Johnston, Carlo Ferreira did pass this weekend. He worked with me up until only a few months ago, and he was as dynamic as then as he was, I'm sure, in his youth, and he was a great inspiration to the city and had lots of leadership guidance. He saw the city be developed, and his infinite wisdom and institutional knowledge was, able to send us on a lot of correct paths because he watched the city be developed and grow into what it is today. So he had knowledge that wasn't on maps, wasn't in plans, and with his knowledge, it helped a whole lot as we really took on the infrastructure challenge that we've taken on in my term. And he was quite informational and very wonderful at that, and truly at the end of the day helped his city save a lot of money because he knew a lot of things that weren't even documented that we finally have gotten put into a documented process. So my heart goes out to his family. I worked with him. I've known him my entire 16-year tenure as an elected official here and got to work with him for the past 6, and I will greatly miss him. Thank you.
Special presentations. Regulatory Department update.
Hi, everybody. I'm Molly McInnes. I'm the Regulatory Director, Certified Floodplain Manager, Certified Building Official. I manage the MS4 program, do enforcement, all the fun stuff. The council asked me to come and just discuss where code is right now. Let's see, that's going to pick it up, huh?
It should. Did it wake up? Your computer woke
Yeah,
up?
my computer's away.
You get the remote? I'm sorry. There you go. How'd you get connected up, Jason, when you do it?
It was connected before.
Yeah, it was connected when I came in.
Let's see if we can just pick it up again.
That was what? How long ago?
Yeah, well, reboot. That's how all the IT guys make all their money. Reboot. I had wanted to show you, since enforcement is about all the things. This may never. Yeah, and I'm connected. Is it because you're connected? No?
I'll just, no, it's not. Then mine would shut up.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Maybe it was confused. Okay, thank you. All right. Well, anyway, let me just go ahead without the visuals. We've gotten a great little piece of software that manages all of our photographs and documents everything that we do with code enforcement. It timestamps it, dates it. It shows. That's you. It'll find mine now, maybe. No.
Press 3, or press 1 on that remote there. Yeah, point it under Todd and press 1. Or is this one? You say one?
It says 2.
Oh, 2, sorry.
That's me, okay. I know I'd mentioned this to everybody, but just to make sure that everybody's aware, we do now have on the city's webpage, there's a portal in order for, anybody can apply for their building permits, business and contractors licenses, they can request inspections, they can renew their licenses, they can do almost anything, they can pay there. And when we have issues with hurricanes, this is going to be huge, because if we're not operational, this is web-based, it will always be there, and it will always work for people. So we can work from wherever to make sure that people can continue to do what they need to do for their homes. We've been using Company Cam, which is where we manage all of our pictures, and like this is a map of the city, and each one of those dots, oh, come on. Okay, just a second. I guess I'll have to use that. Each one of those dots is a code enforcement complaint, and if I, the further I zoom in, obviously, the more you can see, but each of those numbers is how many. We currently have almost 200 violations in here, and we've only been using it for a year. Okay, so, and that's not even everything that we do. If it's something simple that we just need to talk to a neighbor, sometimes we don't put it in here. But anything that that we take any action on, that we leave any kind of notices or anything, the notices are photographed on the property so that we can document everything in case it goes to court. It also creates these, I create them, but it makes it easier. All of this stuff for court in order to show the violations, and I can exactly show where the violation is, what the issue is, and it really helps court a lot, because building code and just general zoning code can be confusing for a lot of people. So it's good to give people a good picture reference, and actually helps the defendant as well, because they see what they're violated. They see the picture of what they're doing wrong, and so they understand what they need to do to correct it. So those are just some of the things that we're working on to make everything better. I know y'all had some questions about some violations. I'll answer what I can. If I have something in court, I'm not going to comment on it, because it's not appropriate. All that needs to take place in court in front of the magistrate with the prosecutor.
Well, I've noticed some of the stuff we've talked about in the last few months, that they've cleaned up the area. Y'all done a good job of getting the areas cleaned up.
Thank you.
But I know y'all done some work on Dickory, but they still have issues on Dickory between the sewer plant and 9th Street on the Harahan side.
Yes.
That vacant lot next to that place where they're doing those Winnebagos, or whatever they call them, those trailers. They're getting more and more, they're putting trailers on that vacant lot.
And they
got a
don't-
boat and
yeah.
everything on there, and they're parking all those cars along there. But I know you know that, and I know you have
Yeah.
addressed it, and y'all told them, so we just got to bring them to court, whatever you got to do. But I just want to compliment you guys. Y'all been cleaning the city up, and I noticed a lot of places we've been complaining. I ride the city up about
Yeah,
3 times a week.
I know.
And I want to tell you that y'all done a lot of improvements.
Thank you,
I want to
thank you.
compliment you on that.
Wayne Santani has been an asset. He absolutely has. It may be a little different for people, but I'm really just trying to put a process into place where, I say this all the time, people laugh, but if I get hit by a bus, somebody needs to know what to do. So I'm writing policies and procedures and creating documents. None of that was here before. So it's been a bit of a process, but I really think that we have finally kind of gotten past that biggest hump, and we're going to have some stops and starts, but I think everything gets better from here on out. I really do.
Let me say, what you just said, I disagree with, because it was here at one time.
Oh, it may have
But
been.
what happened was, when the mayor I'm not gonna say what mayor it was, Tim's trying to
Mayor
improve it.
Maselli, Tina Maselli.
I ain't saying no words. But the mayor, some mayor didn't do regulatory like it should have been done, and what happens, it gets away from you, and now this mayor has to clean up what's been left, so.
You're absolutely right. Now, I'm not blaming anybody, it's just that there wasn't anything all in one place. So, but it's nobody's fault, it happens sometimes, and, you know, just trying to fix it.
As we try to clean up, not only are we trying to clean up, we're trying to institute new technology. We're trying to make it to where it's a digital record now, to where not only do I know it, the next mayor will know it, the next mayor after that mayor will know it, you know, as long as, and so that's what we're trying to do. We're not only trying to bring everything, we're trying to update ordinances because some are really old and antiquated. As we're updating those ordinances, of course, we come to you guys with that, but then we're getting everything into the system to where the next mayor can come by, he can pull the address. Well, what happened up at 159 Lane? Well, let me see what happened there. I can go pull everything up, and he's got it right at his fingertips. It creates efficiency. It doesn't, we don't have to go to the boxes and pull old files, so it just creates an efficiency and it saves taxpayer dollars. But thank you very much for your kind words.
I got a question for you.
Yes,
How
sir.
many of the 200-ish violations that are in company map? So it's
Yeah, company cam.
Company cam?
Yeah.
How many of those are going through the regulatory court process?
How many do I,
Ish.
how, ish?
Ish.
I would actually have to step into my office and count the file, well, I could probably sort it.
I mean, is it 20? Is it
You could just-
It's
100?
probably around 20-ish.
Okay.
Probably around, most people comply without me having to summons them. We've gotten almost 20 blighted houses torn down with just talking to them and working and helping them
Right.
through the process.
So, and I will say, there's been a lot done over the past 6 years than the previous 4 years, for sure. But, for example, we just
You
need
know
to
which one that is.
We just need to know as a council, a legislative body, this particular property here, are there things that need to be done legislatively to make some of these move faster, like Mr. Shields' property at 22 whatever
Yeah.
Hickory, or like Mr. Dawson's property that is now under development but sat nasty for a long, long time. So are there things that you need from us to make the court process go smoother, faster?
I appreciate that, but I think that we've got everything that we need in place. Some of these cases that have been around for a bit are either complicated, we don't have a property owner that's willing to cooperate, or I think some of them got used to, you know, and so they didn't really pay attention at first. But Wayne is very good at bird dogging, which is what I love about him. And so now, don't laugh. But so that stuff is getting straightened out. And actually, next week, he was here day before yesterday, and he'll be in next week, so.
Because I just see the process, when I read the code, I see the process seems like it should be moving a lot faster than what it is on some of these properties, and that this particular place should have already been leaned and fined and demolished, and cars towed, and like I said, I know we've done work. I know the department has done work. It's just some of these properties seem like they just drag on and on and on. So, you know,
Yes.
I don't know what to say about it, other than something's got to change so that, you know, when you cite the next person, it doesn't drag on for 3 years, and the next person might, I mean, or, hell, Mr. Shields' property's been dragging on since
25
since
years.
Maselli's term.
Since I was mayor.
Before that.
Right, so,
He
Yeah.
fought me when I was mayor. I had trouble with him. I made him put the fence around it.
My feeling on that particular property is that I think that you're going to see
some progress, for sure.
this end up the way that your legislation is intended for it to very soon,
okay.
okay? I think that's the best way I can say it without saying too much.
And then I would just ask, because I know I do it, when I walk around my neighborhood, and look, I'm not saying to tattletale your neighbors for grass being an inch above 12 inches or whatever it is, whatever it's supposed to be, but if you see something that's been lingering on and on and on, please report it to the regulatory department. You can do it on the website. For example, I reported an abandoned car in my neighborhood when I went on my walk. windows busted out, no tags, no brake tags, been sitting on the right of way, and I didn't report it for a whole month. So keep it, I mean, this is how we keep our community together. It's the old broken glass, right? The old broken glass theory at the house. If the glass house is broken and it stays like that, it attracts other nuisances into your neighborhood, and we don't want that to hurt our property values. I appreciate everybody's help reporting these things. I appreciate the work the regulatory department is doing. I just wish it would move faster, but that's just me.
I know. I think we
Yeah.
finally got there. It was procedural stuff that was really holding us back. Yes,
My
sir.
question on that, you said the call was on the right-of-way. Did you report to regulatory or you report to the police department?
I report it to regulatory.
That should be reported to the police because he's got a tag.
It's either one.
Yeah.
But it'd be easier to report to the chief and then she wouldn't have to be bothered with it because she would tell the chief goes out there and tags it. I mean, you do what you want, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, they
You
can
do what you
tag or
want.
ticket. That one I did happen to
You're
get, and
councilman.
the
You
lady
do what you
wanted to get
want.
rid of it.
but my
so.
thought is, as a normal citizen, I report it to who I think it needs to report to. If it's not
And
her
then-
job, she'll send it to him. If it's not
That's
his
ex-
job, she'll.
That's
Molly and
exactly what
Molly and I
happens, yes.
communicate together.
The chief and I
We're-
work very
we're-
well together.
We're doing well
Call the chief,
together.
'cause the
Yes.
chief's good.
If she needs something, we're going to respond to her.
And they've
right
been
away.
very
smart.
responsive and helpful. They helped a lot with,
I'm not trying to rub your butt, I'm just trying to say.
Oh, no.
no, send it in, and we will we will figure out who it goes to, and we will come up with a way to deal with it, whatever. Even if we just go out and have a conversation with someone to try to, we will do what we can.
It will be addressed.
Yes, absolutely.
I have a couple of questions. that
Yes, sir.
I'd like some clarification on. We have about 200 cases in this new tracking system. 20 are in the, approximately. 20 are in
Approximately.
the court system. We don't have 200 open cases. do we?
No.
Okay, that's cases since you started entering them.
Since we started in
How many
approximately a
open
year.
cases do you think we have?
Open cases, there's probably twice as many open
40.
cases. Yeah.
40 open, and 20 of which are in
In
the
court or on their
process.
way
And I
into
know
court.
that's
Yes, sir.
approximate.
Yeah,
We had some issues for a while.
yes.
With our court system and our ordinances.
Yes.
I think Councilman Asbill drafted 2 or 3 or 4 ordinances.
He's been
to get us
fabulous,
where
yes.
we needed to be so things could proceed. Those issues are resolved?
Yes,
To
sir.
the best of your current understanding?
Yes, sir.
Great. That
Yes,
is a
sir.
big, big improvement. And I thank Councilman Asbill and thank you guys for working together on it. I have another question, and it shows my ignorance about these matters. If Jefferson Parish sees somebody has a nuisance trash or grass, they don't go to court. They just send you a notice to clean it up. You don't clean it up, they send Romelli out there, and you get a bill for $450.
I do that. We do have that. For grass and trash are outliers on this, okay? Grass, trash, and junk vehicles as well, I would say. Those, I can post a notice on the property. I don't have to summons them for grass. Once this specific legal notice, which we didn't have one, so actually Carlo helped me. He got some information for me, and we put it together. But I can post that, and the city can go out and cut that property monthly for a year and bill them, and if they don't pay it, we can lien them. And the regulation also states that we double what it cost us to cut the grass to cover administrative cost. And there's also something in there for multiple violators, someone who is constantly having the same violation. We can do the same thing with them. It's the building code, the blight, those things. Those are typically the ones that we have to bring in.
So I know Harahan doesn't want to beat the citizens up.
No.
We don't want to necessarily be the iron fist.
Right.
But Jefferson Parish moves this along real fast, and they don't give people 6 attempts or 12 attempts to fix the problem.
Right.
They give them an attempt, and then they get the work done, and then they lien the property.
Right.
And that property, under their scenario and ours, if you have something that hits your tax bill and a lien, and you don't pay it, property goes out for tax sale.
Yeah.
And so the city doesn't invest money for 10 or 20 years waiting to get their money. So are we doing that? How aggressive are we on these?
We are doing that. We are set up for it. myself and Scott Stansberry and Carrie went to another municipality to look at everything. They were doing their processes for liens and also for demos and blight, just to get some more input, because, you know, I have plenty of background, but I like to see how everybody else does it too. So we created those forms, and we are ready to go. I actually have a property to put a lien on at this time, so, and I'll give it to Carrie. She'll file it. We're going to charge them for all of the clerk of court fees up front, so that if we ever have to remove the lien, we're not paying for it ourselves. I'm trying to make sure that the city should not be coming out of pocket for anything. And, you know, I very strongly believe that. When we have tried very hard to speed up our compliance time. I will admit, we have a lot of elderly residents that are on a fixed income. And when I've got an elderly person who's lived here for 60 years crying because they don't have the money right now, it's really hard not to try to give them a little bit extra time and maybe even send some resources their way or send them towards some resources. Sometimes we can find a church group or a KFC or a Lions Club that will help them. So we do try to do that. But we are speeding up this, you know, continual compliance thing, unless it's a holdup like we're waiting on an engineering letter or plans from an architect or something like that.
Well, and again, I too recognize huge improvements and needed improvements, but they're happening. So thank you for your efforts and the team that you're working with.
Look,
And
great
thanks to
people here, and
Councilman Asbill for helping with these.
yeah, he's been wonderful. And look, he's always helping me update ordinances. I think he's got another one coming up that I asked him to give me a hand with. So, but I appreciate everybody's help and everybody's patience. But you're going to have something really strong that anybody can just like step into and do if I get hit by that bus one day.
While you're up here,
Yeah.
can I just actually explain the stormwater ordinance we have?
Oh, the MS4? Yeah, I didn't include
I
that.
mean, we have it on here. And
Oh,
know
I
the
didn't realize it was
questions
on,
will come up.
okay. Yeah, that's MS4. It's municipal separate sanitary sewer system. Any municipality or any government that has, or actually, sometimes it can be like a big airport or a big plant. If they have a sewer treatment plant, they have to get a permit from LDEQ. And in order to get that permit, you have to comply with a list this long of stormwater management plans. It's part of the Clean Water Act, and it's overseen by the EPA. So the things that are in there are things that we need to have in our regulations in order to be compliant for LDEQ. Okay, and
that's
it's to
things
keep the
like
clean water.
You put barriers in front of catch basins.
Exactly.
So the dirt from construction doesn't go into the drain, it collects on the street and they can clean it up.
Exactly. So I guess it sounds like you're kind of talking about, you know, stopping people from flooding. It's actually connected to the sewer system, but the main thing is to keep things that should not be in the stormwater and head into our lake and river out, and to make sure that we have enforcement procedures for that. And also to make sure that our drainage system does not get overwhelmed by, you know, post-development runoff. Everyone, and we didn't have it written, so we needed it written in there that if you build, it's larger than 1 acre or whatever, your post-development runoff cannot exceed the water that left your property before you develop.
Did we get the language for this ordinance from somewhere?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. It's a boilerplate template that everybody uses. It's,
So we don't have that in place now?
no, it just kind of referenced, do whatever Jefferson Parish does and maybe what the building official tells you. But we needed something that says can exceed, just like we needed the fog regulations to keep grease out of the sewer system. That's part of the same task force that I work with, the MS4 task force.
See, I read that ordinance, I got the packet, and I wasn't going to vote on it because I wanted to find out who put that in, who was the expert, what was that all about. But you're the one that put it in, and you explained it to me now, so I didn't know what that was about. But you explained it. Why wouldn't we have that already in place? We have a sewer plant for 60-something years.
I know.
That's
Basically,
drainage.
the way I understand it is if someone goes to Colonial right now, it takes a back section of that property and just say they sell off 3 acres, now we have something to hold them in place to contain their water, their drainage, their sewer, differently than we had before. This gives us a little more restriction to put the pressure on.
Yeah.
People have to retain their water when they build a house. If they hide it in the next door neighbor, they got to put a retainer wall and
Only if
everything.
our
Right.
ordinances say it.
But when you go to a mass amount of property with acreage, there's different rules that will
So as
follow.
long as it's better, I mean, I
It's,
have no
it's,
problem.
it's better. It will protect the citizens from flooding. It will protect our water sources, keep our water sources clean. It will also protect our sewer system, because I'm just putting them in as I can where we find them. The mayor also got me some help from Meyer, and we updated our stormwater management plan, which needed to be done, and that's been submitted to LDEQ. We were actually kind of in arrears with our permit, but we are golden with them now,
I'm
so.
glad you asked the question now, because I was going to ask the
But she
question when
was
it
up
came
here,
up.
that's why I said she was
Yeah,
up here.
I didn't
it's
know
my
you didn't want to
ordinance,
put it in.
Yeah, I'm glad you,
I find the
yeah.
ordinance, but she knows it.
Yeah, because you might have left, and then I was going to ask the question, we wouldn't have got an answer. I wasn't going to vote on it unless I got an answer why we did it.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad she was
Yeah.
up here. I figured I'd get it explained
Yeah.
it while she was here.
Okay, yep, that's exactly what that's for. If anyone ever has any questions or comments, if you think that we can do something better, or if you think there's something, anything, just let me know, and, because we can always improve.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Molly, you going to be here for a few minutes? Because when we talk about that, or when we get to that ordinance, I've got a
stay
couple
for
of
it.
questions. Just
I'm gonna go plug this in, I'll stay.
thank you.
Mr. Mayor, move to amend the agenda to add proposed ordinance 2024-17 for first reading, an ordinance to place stop signs on Hickory Avenue at 9th Street.
We have a motion by Councilman Asbill to add proposed ordinance number 2024-17 to place stop signs on Hickory Avenue. Will now open for public hearing. Anyone wanting to speak forth? No one speaking forth. We have a second by Councilman Chatelain. All in favor?
Yay.
Madam Clerk, please note that the agenda has been amended. 4 yeas, 0 nays.
Mr. Mayor, move to amend the agenda to add new business number 3 from the floor. It is a request from St. Rita for the Christ the King procession on November 24th, 2024.
We have a motion by Councilman Asbill. Will now open for public hearing. Anyone want to speak for or against, please come forward. No one coming forward. We'll now close public hearing. We have a motion by Councilman Asbill for St. Rita's Christ King procession. We have a second by Councilman Buddy. All in favor to add to the agenda?
Yes.
That's 4 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk, please note the agenda.
Thank you. Approval of minutes, reading of the minutes of the public hearing/council meeting on August 15th, 2024.
Move to dispense.
I have a motion by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Johnson to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the public hearing from August 15th. We'll now open for public hearing. Anyone come to speak for or against, please come to the podium. No one coming forward or against. We'll now close public hearing. All in favor to dispense with the reading of the minutes?
Yay.
Yes.
4 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk.
Approval of the minutes of the public hearing/council meeting on August 15th, 2024.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Johnston, second by Councilman Buddy to approve those minutes. Anyone want to come to the podium, speak for or against, please come forward. No one coming forward. We'll now close public hearing. All in favor to approve those minutes?
Yay.
4 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk.
One absent.
Okay, we have no communications, resolutions. The following resolution was offered unanimously by the Council of the City of Harahan. Proposed resolution number 2024-10, set forth the 2024 adjusted millage rates and roll forward to millage rates not exceeding the maximum authorized rates.
Okay. Anyone want to speak about proposed ordinance number 2024-10, please come to the podium. Yes, ma'am.
Is this one we can't vote on?
You just have to be a majority.
Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Gail Ventola. I live at 136 McHugh. I've lived in Harahan for 54 years, and this is the first time I've addressed the council. So please understand that I am here not to oppose the roll forward. That is not what I'm here for. I'm here because I think that we need to do a bit more information in informing the citizens about exactly what that means. I have done a little investigation and found out that there are 4,023 properties that were assessed in Harahan. And of those, 1,084 are special assessments. Those are frozen. So that means that 27% of the properties in Harahan are not going to have a change in their assessed value. It's frozen. The problem, and those people, those taxes will be the same as they were in 2023, absolutely. So that leaves the rest of the people, the 73%, to pay that 94,000 approximately, that is going to be dollars collected because of the roll forward. At one of the meetings, Councilman Buddy said that was a 4% increase, right?
I believe that's what I computed it.
Yeah, and I computed it and you were right, and I'm not good in math, so.
Thank you and thank you.
Yeah, yes, you were right. The problem with that is that the information given made it seem as if that was a 4% increase across the city of Harahan. And of course, we know that 27% of those properties were removed from that number because their assessments cannot go up, so they can't contribute to that $94,000 pot.
Ma'am, let me ask you a question, and a point of clarification. When your assessment is frozen, the assessed value, I believe, is frozen, not the millage rate.
You are 100% right, but the millage rate is not what's going up. See, that's my problem here.
That is, we're rolling the millage rate forward. We're not changing assessed values. So if you're over 65 and disabled,
Do you think? Yeah.
you know, you've got, you can apply if you're under a certain income level, you can apply and have your assessed value frozen. The millage rates are applied against your assessed value.
Yes.
So the people who have frozen assessments in Harahan, obviously we've got an older population percentage, their assessed values didn't change, but the millage rate can change. I believe that's how it works. I'm not an expert on it.
Actually, the way it works is that what you cannot, the council, the local taxing authority, cannot roll forward any more than the millages in 2023. That's the rule.
Correct.
Right. Now, the only thing, the state law says that you cannot collect more tax dollars than you collected in 2023. So if some of the properties in Harahan increase in assessment, then you're going to, applying the same millages, you're going to collect more money. And that you cannot do without voting to
Without a roll
roll forward.
forward.
Right. So the roll forward, frozen assessments, the people who have frozen assessments, their tax bill will be for Harahan. Let me be clear. Their tax bill for Harahan will be exactly the same in 2024 as it was in
I'm
2020.
not sure about that. You may be correct. If our millages change, you're not exempt from new millages or changes in millages.
But sir, may I
I'm
point
not
out
sure.
to you as part of the council, you cannot roll the millages any further than they were in 2023.
Correct.
So you are not increasing the millages. I'm going to try my best to explain this to you. The money that you collected in tax dollars, we're confusing here tax amounts and millages. Tax amount that you collected in 2023, you can only collect that amount in 2024 unless you roll forward. That's the rule. That's what, am I correct? I see.
I believe that's what we
I'm pretty sure. I was trying to wrap my brain around this.
I agree with you.
Yes.
I agree with you.
Yes, so the people who have frozen assessments, their bill for Harahan will remain the same.
I don't know that that's correct. Their assessments.
If you roll forward,
If we roll forward, their assessment will be the same.
Their assessment will be the same.
their assessment will be the same.
Their tax bill will be more.
No?
No,
If-
no.
not
If if they don't have an increase in value of their house as a result, or if no one has an individual
Right.
house is assessed by the assessor, we don't know that they all went up 4%. They didn't. Some houses may have gone up 10%, some may have gone down 3%. We're not privy to that
Yes.
decision.
So that's what she's saying, Councilman. She's saying we're not changing the millages.
You cannot
You're changing the
change the-
property values.
Councilman-
And that's how you create the roll
We're
forward.
not changing the property values. We're not addressing property values at all. We can't do that.
That's
You can't, the assessor does.
Correct.
That's
The
right.
assessor does. And what you cannot do, according to Louisiana state statute, after an assessment year, so 2024, you cannot collect more tax dollars than you collected in 2023 unless you vote to roll forward the taxes. So people who have a frozen assessment, their taxes are going to be the same in 2023, in 2024 as they were in 2023.
If we don't roll the taxes forward, theirs would probably go down.
Theirs would go down. You are 100% right. If you don't roll them forward, then their taxes are actually going, the
could go down.
frozen ones are
They'll go down,
actually
because their
going,
assessed value didn't change, and the
Assessed
millage rate
value
will be
didn't,
lower.
and you would roll the
they'll
ass-
pay less taxes.
you are 100% right. But when you roll forward, their taxes do not go up.
Correct.
It is the rest, and that's 27% of Harahan people, of Harahan properties. There are 1,084 that are frozen out of the 4,000 something. Those numbers came from the assessor's office.
I'm not going to challenge that, because I know there's a number of houses, but this assessment we get from the assessor accounts for the fact that my house is not frozen. My assessment went up.
Sure, mine went up.
And, well, but if you
Significantly.
were frozen, if
Right.
you're one of those 1,000 plus
Right, and I'm not.
households, your assessment did not go up. The
Right.
number we get that this is all based on comes from the assessor, and it's based on assessed values. So if you had a house that's frozen, it's frozen. If the rest of us, if the other 3,000 houses, our assessments changed, not necessarily by the same percentage.
No, exactly.
This whole process is based upon assessed value.
Yes.
So if your house is frozen, assessed value frozen, then if we don't roll it forward, you actually get a tax cut.
Yes,
If we do roll it forward, you won't receive a tax cut. You with a frozen valuation, assessed value, will never pay any more taxes unless we pass a new millage.
right. The
Or a
only,
millage falls off, you'll pay less.
right. The
So
frozen,
I'm not sure, I think what we've done is correct, I think.
I'm not sure what we're disagreeing on here.
Okay.
You're not now.
My point is that the impression was that it was a 4% increase. And
It's a
that
4% increase to the city of Harahan.
It was a 4% in tax dollars collected.
Collected. Yes,
That
ma'am.
was not a 4% increase in individual taxes. Correct, absolutely, we agree, I'm so glad. The issue that I have is that the implication with the 4% was that that was what people in Harahan should expect. And based on the fact that we have 1,000 plus 27% frozen assessments, there is a clear difference between the number of frozen assessments and the assessments that did not go up. And I'm just going to give you a quick little summary from my street only. The 33 properties, McHugh, 33 properties, 11 of those properties, only 11 had increased assessments. So it doesn't matter whether your assessment is frozen. If it didn't increase, then your taxes did not increase. So based on one street only, there were 11 out of 33 properties that had increased assessments. That is very different from what would be expected.
I didn't intend to apply, and I may have, I didn't intend to apply that a homeowner would see a 4% increase in their tax bill. My
No,
point was is that the 4% revenue to the city of Harahan was over a period when inflation increased 20%.
And
So the city has less purchasing power with the 4% increase. So I may not have made that clear.
yes, and I am only here because of transparency in government. My taxes went up. My assessment is not frozen. I am happy to pay them, quite frankly. I think the city needs the money, so I'm not objecting to the roll forward. What I am presenting to the council is information that perhaps people need to know what to expect and not think that the 4% was reflected what tax bills were going to be, especially when on McHugh, they went up in huge differences from 19% to 2% among the 11 that went up. That's a big difference, huge difference.
Correct.
So it was informational only.
Well, I apologize if anybody misunderstood what I was intending to say. I may have not said it clearly, but the city, if the millage rates are rolled forward, we will receive about $90-some-odd thousand, about 4% more than we did in the past.
$94,398.
Yeah, the city would receive that, about a 4% increase that happened to cover a 4-year period.
Yeah.
And during that period, inflation went up 20%. Our purchasing power is down 16, 17%. My point was just to imply that this is not a windfall
Oh,
for the
no.
city. It's an inflationary increase is what it is.
No, I don't think it's a windfall. I think there are some people who don't understand the roll forward and the roll back, and I.
It's complicated.
It's very complicated, and it has lots of little issues to consider, but I think that for the citizens to understand what is happening is important. Harahan is something of a hotbed of misinformation, and I think people need to, yes. Those of you who've been around as long as I have know that, and I think it's important for people to understand what's going on and for the council to make that apparent to the citizenry.
Ms. Gill?
Yes.
Don't take this the wrong way. It's a total joke, but somebody that just informed us all the information you just gave us, I would love for you to come here and work at City Hall with us, and we could put you in the informational business to where you can inform the neighbors. And if you have free time and you want to volunteer, we have time for you, because I greatly appreciate the homework you did, came here and explained that the way you did.
Thank you very much.
I know that there are agencies in this state that I did not know existed when I went down the rabbit hole, because, and I have to thank Carrie, you have a gem there. She was very helpful in answering my questions when I came in and said, I don't know what this thing that was in the paper was all about. And so then I started looking. There are lots and lots of people, including people in offices that you would expect them to understand how it works, who don't know how it works.
Right, and the way you just informed us, all of us in here, and whoever's listening on the podium, I'm not being sarcastic, and I'm not trying to be, but if you want to come here and help spread this word and inform them the way you just informed everyone here, you did a great job, and we greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, and I would be happy to help. I would be happy to help inform the citizens. Look at the few people who are here. I think people need to know. It's what government is supposed to do.
And the bad part is, we have a whole nother year to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Greatly appreciate
No
it.
one else coming, we'll now close public hearing.
Mr. Mayor, move to withdraw the resolution.
Are we withdrawing? Are we not going to just go for it and hold it till next year?
We can't.
That's
have
what
to
I thought
withdraw
we
it?
might do.
We can't.
What's that, sir?
We can't. It wasn't advertised properly now.
So I'm going to ask if Madam Clerk could explain this real quick.
Yeah. It's got to be done at the same time.
So apparently,
explain it.
nobody knew. You want to explain it?
No, you.
Okay. Nobody knew that the resolutions both had to be approved at the same meeting. So when we started the process last month, everything was sent to the Louisiana Legislative Auditor's office, and she came back and said,
Can I interrupt you? When we say
Yeah.
nobody knew, that includes the assessor's
that
office.
includes the assessor's office, our office.
Our office, the LMA.
Scott didn't know. Yeah, it's like, apparently there's a new what's the word I'm looking for? Like, there was a lawsuit
a
out
legal
of,
case.
yeah, a legal case out of Ascension Parish where they voted, where it has to be approved at the same meeting. There's nothing we can do. We would have had to start the whole process over, which we would have had to have advertised for 30 more days. And the assessor's office said they cannot wait for us because we would be holding up the whole parish's tax roll.
And can you add to that, or tell me if this is correct? We had a resolution and an ordinance last month, and we couldn't consider one of them because it required four
Two-thirds,
votes.
yeah, 4 votes. We
We
didn't
had-
have a quorum.
Yeah, we only had 3 people. So we could pass the resolution, I think. We couldn't pass the ordinance because 2 councilmen missed it. And I'm not sure if they could have done anything differently, but nobody had any idea of the consequences of that.
Right. Had we have known, we could have just deferred both resolutions. But when I had spoken to the assessor literally an hour before the meeting, they were in agreement that we could vote on the one resolution and defer the next one. And then when they sent everything to the Louisiana legislative auditors, it came back and they said that they could not certify this. And we would have to start all over. And the assessor's office said they could not hold up the whole parish's tax
So
roll.
is it your understanding that this ordinance tonight should be withdrawn?
Withdrawn, yes, sir.
I mean,
And we
that's
will
my
be, so we did approve the resolution last month, so the millage for this year will be that 21.07. And that we do have, next year we can start this process early, and we can proceed with the roll forward then.
We'll do the resolution and the ordinance.
Yeah, we have
sometime
to
in
start it all, we'll have to have another public hearing, we'll have to have the 2 resolutions up for approval, they'll have to be approved at the same meeting.
So you're
Just
putting
have to
that
start all
on
over.
the January agenda?
Yes, sir.
And we'll have Ms. Gale come help explain it.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilman Asbill to withdraw. We have a second by Councilman Chatterling to withdraw. I'll open for public hearing. Anybody want to speak for or against on the withdrawal? No one coming forward. We'll close public hearing. All in favor to withdraw proposed resolution number 24-10?
Yay?
Yeah.
4 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk, please note for the record.
Make sure the
ordinance is withdrawn.
citizens understand, I know Carrie explained it, but people might not call what she said. The millage this year is going to be 21.07. 21.07. Make sure people understand that. We're not rolling it up to 21.930. That's going to be in next year. It'll be 21.930. This year, your tax bill is going to come out at 21.070. So make sure people understand that.
Which is the
I
same as it
think
was
you
last year.
explained it quite clearly, Paul.
Yeah, basically,
And if we could just get that on the city website as well.
yes.
Madam Clerk?
The following resolution was offered by Councilman Chatelain, proposed resolution number 2024-12, a resolution authorizing the mayor to accept a restricted donation for the benefit of the City of Harahan Recreation Department.
Okay, we'll open for public hearing. Anyone want to speak on proposed ordinance number 2024-12? No one coming forward. We'll now close public hearing. Council discussion.
I would just like to know if there's a reason why we don't know who the donor is, and then what do we have an intended use for the funds?
20, I think it's going to be numerous donations.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought the donor was listed in here.
I don't see it, Councilman. I may have overlooked it.
Wasn't that the money y'all raised a couple of years ago,
So this.
Councilman Asbill? Wasn't that the money y'all raised a
Yeah,
couple of years ago?
That's right. I'm explaining.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, so this is the money that
I
sits
don't
in the
mean to
no
interrupt
limits.
you, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is the money that sits in the no limits play account. The funds were raised over the course of a couple of years, through the course of a couple of events. It's become quite clear that that me, as a sitting council person, cannot enter into a CEA with the city to do a bigger project over there. And so we want to just close that out, get those funds used somewhere at the playground, because that's what the city
That's what it was
expected.
donated for.
And so we are, basically, this will pay for, rather than the new play set that the council approved a couple of months ago, rather than just putting a net over the top, this will pay for a 4-post shade covering over the top
That's perfect.
to keep it shaded and protected from the foul balls.
Perfect.
Thank you for the explanation.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
That was my only question.
Yep,
all right, all in favor?
Yeah.
Yay.
abstain.
3
sorry.
yeas, 1
I'm
absent,
abstaining.
1 abstention.
He's abstaining because he's a member of the board.
Madam Clerk, please
So
note for
it's
the record.
3, 0, 1, 1.
Ordinances for approval, proposed ordinance number 2024-14. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Chatelain and seconded by Councilman, who would like that one?
Second.
Asbill, an ordinance amending the Harahan Code of Ordinances, Chapter 14, Buildings and Building Regulations by adding Section 14-190, Stormwater Regulations.
Okay, we'll open for public hearing. No one coming forth. We'll now close for public hearing. We'll go back to council discussion.
I have one question, follow-up question on stormwater management. Are we sure this is not something that has to go to the zoning board, planning and zoning board before it comes to, okay, that's it, I'm good.
Go ahead.
It does have to go, you shook your head.
No, it doesn't.
It don't?
I'm sure it
Okay.
does not, because it's not in the zoning code. It's in the building regulations.
Okay.
That's what,
So this, guys, just so this is basically what Ms. Molly explained earlier. All right. Motion.
I had a question. There may be a small conflict, maybe not, but in line 57, we talk about redevelopment. Redevelopment of a site, 7,000 square feet or more.
Keywords of impervious surface. If they're going to have more than 7,000 square feet of concrete, they got to give us some kind of help with the drainage, because that's just, it's, I mean, there's nowhere for it to go.
Well, some of our lots aren't even 7,000.
They are 7,000, but they're not solid concrete. And also, it does not apply to residential unless you're building 5 or more houses. This is standard across the country.
5 or more houses on, like if they build like.
5 or more houses like you, yeah, in one development.
Right.
Yeah.
You got multifamily. That makes.
Yeah,
that's-
we're
I don't
talking
think
about
that-
multi,
confusing when you get multifamily.
yeah,
it's like
that's line
apartments or something.
61. That's what I was getting at. I don't even know why we're referencing that, because,
Because you're only allowed to build doubles in Harahan.
yeah, you, on line 61.
Why you're
R2.
referencing multifamily
R2
dwellings?
zone.
Yeah, it sort of implies that you can build multifamily dwellings.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, if y'all want to change it to doubles, you can, but
Well, that says,
this is how this reads everywhere.
Yeah.
Anytime that you build,
but most places allow apartments.
I mean, my preference would be to leave it in the case that in the future, a council in the future does say, allow multifamily housing.
this is nowhere in the zoning code, so it doesn't
I don't want to
permit
be a part of it. Anybody,
multifamily.
multifamily.
Well, me
apartments, I don't
either, Mr. Paul,
No.
I don't want to be a part of it, so I don't want to approve anything. And if the council in the future wants to do it, let them
So-
put it forward. I don't want to vote for anything that puts any multifamilies, apartments in the city of Harahan. We don't need apartments.
The way I'm understanding this is single-family and multifamily dwellings of 5 or more. So basically, if somebody goes and takes and Colonial sells a piece of that property, 4 acres, and somebody comes in and wants to develop 5 or more houses in there, she's got
No,
No,
here,
this is a multifamily dwelling.
I don't think that's.
So this is like,
it says
You know,
single-family and multifamily
Correct.
dwellings.
Correct.
Of 5 or more.
Single family,
So if they're
yeah.
building
5 or
5
less.
houses, 5 houses in a development right there,
It would actually have to meet it has to be more than 5 units, and it has to be more than an acre.
so the way this reads.
It's really the acre thing.
If Harahan allowed for a fourplex,
We don't allow it.
I know, they wouldn't be required to submit the stormwater management plan. That's the way I'm reading this.
No,
A single family doesn't have to apply for a SWIP.
no.
And multifamily dwellings of 5 units or less.
Correct.
So if somebody built a fourplex, if it were allowed,
Yes, if
They-
it were
they
allowed.
would not have to-
They would not have to
Okay.
do stormwater management. That's correct.
can we, to make,
Because we require, they can't, we don't let them concrete from end to end anyway, so.
can we add, and I'm going to throw this out, Councilman Johnson, to see if this puts you a little bit at ease. If we added after the word dwellings of 5 units or less, comma, we add the comma, should a future council allow for dwellings, multifamily dwellings of more than 2 units.
How about if you just put, if permitted by zoning?
I like that.
I don't like units. It should be houses.
I use the
No, but
state,
we
the
do allow people to build
LDEQ has a
Doubles,
template,
but 5
and
units.
Yep, that's what I was saying.
every
I
ordinance.
move to amend ordinance number 2024-14 to insert, on line 61, to insert the words, to insert after or less, comma, if permitted within the zoning regulations of the city, comma.
Where are you putting that?
After 5 units or less.
I don't like the word units.
But that's what,
That's
That's
how
the
how
term.
would you describe a
houses.
fourplex?
5 houses. Units.
No, but this is multifamily. So multifamily is not a house,
It's a unit.
it's not a
I
unit.
don't like multifamily dwellings of 5 units. You're allowing a 5-unit dwelling.
But what Councilman Asbill has just proposed, that we put after that clause, where it talks about the multifamily dwellings of 5 units or less, comma, if permitted within, what was it, Councilman Asbill?
If permitted in-
within,
If permitting within the city zoning regulations, comma.
so what that does, it doesn't say it's allowed. It says the SWIP plan won't apply to it if it's allowed.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to amend the agenda of line 61 as stated. All in favor to amend the agenda?
I don't have a problem with that added, but I have no problem, but I don't like the word
Yay.
units, and I don't like the multifamily in it.
All right, 4 yeas, 0 nays. I'm sorry.
One absent.
4. He
Paul
voted
voted
for.
yes.
Oh, he did, okay.
Yeah, 4 yeas,
Yeah.
0 nays, 1
I don't have a
absent.
problem with adding what
So
he
the
just added,
amendment is 4-0.
Right.
Yes.
but I have a problem with units and multifamily dwellings. Can we change that?
Well,
Instead of units, put houses?
may
I
I?
mean, you're not allowing, this does not allow multifamily dwellings in Harahan. That's not what this does. This says if you build one, if it's permitted in the future and you build one, you don't have to have the SWIFT plan, or the SWIFT plan.
Right,
SWIFT
and here's something else to also consider. We have non-conforming, existing non-conforming uses, right? So let's say, because none of those apartments can be rebuilt because it's zone C2, C1 now, right?
C1.
Okay. If one of those was destroyed by an act of God, and this is,
There was one that was destroyed for the act of God in the 1300 block. It was burned over 50%. And before Bode became mayor, and they allowed them to build back the apartments.
Right.
They should have not allowed that, but they did.
well, they have to, they have to allow them to if it's done within the 6 months or so, but
That's right, they grandfathered clause, that's right.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah. But the stormwater, because it's building, they can't build it back unsafe. So if it was 5 units or more, or 5 dwellings or more, however we want to say it, they would have, this at least keeps them having to install this stormwater protection
Right.
if we have any non-conforming uses that are destroyed by an act of God. It's a protective measure. This does not let anything be built. It just, if something happens and somebody amends the zoning code, then they've got to follow this.
I just don't like multifamily dwelling in 5 units. I don't like the way it's worded. Somebody gets an attorney and fights this.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how.
And we've already voted to amend, though. Okay.
Yeah, we voted something.
Multifamily.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Chatelain to approve 2024 as amended.
As amended.
As amended.
You're leaving in multifamily dwelling in 5 units.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, all in favor?
Yeah.
3 yeas, 1 nay, 1 absent. Madam Clerk, please note for the record.
Thank you, Ms. Molly. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, proposed ordinance number 2024-15.
Proposed ordinance number 2024-15. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Chatelain and seconded by Councilman
Second.
Asbill. An ordinance amending ordinance number 1990, the annual budget of revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2024, for the capital project fund of the City of Harahan, Louisiana, for ice machine at the Recreation Department.
Okay, anyone want to speak on proposed ordinance number 2024-15 before we take it under council consideration? Please come forward. No one coming forward. We'll now close public hearing. Council consideration?
Where would the ice machine be placed?
Inside concession stand.
Okay.
We had one, it was a couple years old prior to the hurricane.
I know, and the reason I ask, and I'm fine with that, but the reason I ask is the chief, I believe you had some conversation about the possibility of getting an ice machine for our emergency operations center. I don't know if this could be used in conjunction, no, you'd have to move it. You wouldn't be doing that during a storm.
I mean, they'd-
All right,
I think
I'm
we would-
They'd be able to go there
I
and get
think
ice.
we'd have access to
Yeah.
get ice if we
Okay.
needed it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
city maintenance, if they would have a problem, anybody would have access to get
Well, they
it.
have
Yeah,
ice
but you wouldn't
machine
have
at the
power.
senior
Right.
Yeah.
And this would be a lot bigger than the
Yeah.
one over there.
Well, I'm fine with it being at the
And this
concession
one isn't
stand.
going to be as big as the one outside, because we do have the one outside if it's needed as. But it's a lot of work to go in and out, carry the ice in and out from outside.
Okay. Call
Thank
for the vote. All in favor?
Yay. Yay.
4 yeas, 1 absent. Madam Clerk?
Ordinances for introduction. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Chatelain. Proposed ordinance number 2024-16. An ordinance declaring 2 Ford Crown Victoria police vehicles as surplus and authorizing their donation to the Roseland Police Department. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Chatelain. Proposed ordinance number 2024-17, an ordinance to place stop signs on Hickory Avenue at 9th Street. Old business number 1, Planning and Zoning Board appointment.
Madam Clerk, we'll defer to the next council meeting.
Just a quick announcement, we are looking for volunteers for planning and zoning board appointments. So if you are interested, sitting at home watching this, and you want to be here instead on a Wednesday night, we very much appreciate it. Not a whole lot of work, but
But a whole lot of fun.
a whole lot of fun, and it is necessary to help the city make sure we're doing things right within the zoning codes. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilman. Madam Clerk?
Do we have to vote? I need to vote.
No. All right, motion to defer by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Chatelain. All in favor?
Yay.
4 yeas, 1 absent.
New business number 1, Todd Turnion, Finance Director, monthly financials.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Brief update from the finance team. We continue to work on closing out August. I know Kerry sent the revenue and expenditure reports out. We continue to work on closing out August. The sales tax amounts continue to be right in line with budget. The fire sales tax are in excess of budget, which is positive for the city. We also budgeted that somewhat conservatively when we prepared the budget last year. And we are preparing to close out September so we can be ready for the budget amendments in October, November, and December. So that's kind of what we're working on in the second half of the year. Happy to answer any questions from the council members.
Generally, what you just said is our revenues are pretty much falling in line, except with the exception of sales tax, fire department sales tax, which is above, which is positive.
Above, yes.
How are our expenses running?
So the expenses vary by department.
Correct.
So in general, they're in line with budget. There's some departments over budget,
Correct.
some departments under budget.
No major fluctuations?
No major fluctuations at
Thank
this
you.
time. Yep.
Any additional funds received from FEMA in the past month or two?
So we have collected some over the past 3 or 4 months, a couple $100,000, 200 or 300, 400,000, which has helped. And I missed the FEMA call, the last 2 that we had.
I believe we are waiting on a $400,000
Yeah.
tranche. I think it's tied up over a little bit of some,
Some bureaucrat changed their mind
some
about
bureaucracy about saying that there was a prior overpayment to the city at one point. I believe in the tune of about $31,000. We're trying to get them to consider
From
just
Isaac in
just
2009?
just subtracting. Is that correct? We're just trying to get them to take the consideration of subtracting that from the overall amount and giving us the difference, so we can try to get some of these accounts replenished and continue on about our business.
I propose that you pay them a percentage of that 31,000 as they pay us a percentage of our FEMA claim.
Well, let me tell you, so there is a lot of legislation that's going to start being put in place from contractors. Very fortunately, we paid our contractors, but a lot of cities haven't, and they are putting legislation in, the state legislation in place to start being able to run interest rates up that FEMA will be responsible for on money that's not being paid out to vendors.
Or maybe just tell FEMA, don't worry about it, we'll collect it in legal fees at some point.
Well, I mean, we're actually at that precipice right now. We have already drawn up our entire case to be presented to the district attorney of the state of Louisiana. The only reason why we haven't pulled the trigger yet is because we just got another new team, and we're really hoping, it sounds very promising with the new gentleman that we're working with. So we're hoping that it moves forward, but I would think that our patience has grown really, really thin recently, and we've about had enough. And it's not just us. We talk to other municipalities and other parishes statewide. It's the same story there. And what a disadvantage that the state of Louisiana gets put at. And so we are looking at filing suit against FEMA.
Thank you for that update. Well, go ahead, Todd, because my question is not really related.
I was just going to add that we have, based on guidance from some of the representatives in prior FEMA meetings, we have charged them the interest expense on the $2 million loan.
Really?
That we paid in I'd have to go back to the years, but it was 2 years. Not the current year, I don't think, but some of the 2 prior years at least.
And does it look allowable?
We
don't
think-
know.
We submitted it based on the conversations and the meetings we have every 2 weeks.
We think, and
So-
our interpretation of it is allowable. And I guess that's probably why we haven't kind of pulled the trigger yet, because finding things are, with the new gentleman we're working with now, that things seem to be a little bit more, he's a little more open-minded, things are a little bit more allowable, things are a little less bureaucratic. So we're trying to give this guy every effort that we possibly can. Once we, really pull the trigger to start working against them negatively, I'm sure that's going to come back. And so we try not to go down that road.
And what we're talking about here is their delay in approving.
Yes, sir.
Reconciling and agreeing where we
Yes,
agree.
sir.
So I assume then, from that conversation, that there hasn't been any final resolution as the percentage of damage on the fire.
That's only one PW.
Yeah, that's
We have
That's big.
several PWs right now.
Yeah.
And of course, with our fire department, we're trying to configure their scoring sheets and how they're creating their scoring, because in our interpretation, just rebuilding the fire department and bringing it up to code puts us well over 80% of a rebuild number. But we think, so we don't really understand how they're deriving the numbers that they're deriving. But again, I'm very hopeful with the new gentleman that we're working with that he'll see that. But even bringing the building to code puts us way over the threshold of a rebuild. Yeah, so. Thank you.
Good.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Was that good enough? All right.
Mayor,
Thank
I
you.
looked at the
You teach it,
budgets.
Todd.
I looked at the budgets, I got the readout from Kerry, and I noticed the administration's in line, police and fire in line. And like Todd said, I know y'all got to get together because the line items are way out of whack. So I know we do have a line item budget by ordinance, but I know he said we're going to get together in October, November and get everybody in line. But recreation and the highway, they're out of line, and recreatory, they're over budgeted. So we're going to have to add money to their budget.
We've been doing a lot at the rec department. We do anticipate a lot of that money coming back from FEMA. That is an open PW. The rec, believe it or not, the rec department actually took the biggest brunt, Ida. And so we had such a push from the citizens of getting that rec center open, because it is, a real heartbeat and gathering area for our community that, we kind of had to really take it upon our own and start going after reimbursement instead of waiting on them to come, which we were actually informed that actually building or going on our own, of course, within their guidelines, that reimbursement would be a whole lot easier of a process. But we've come into the conclusion that maybe that's not correct either.
Well, I noticed in maintenance, which you got on the highway, is a lot of the 32,000 you spent on trees and stuff like that, so I know it's from cleaning up.
Yes, sir.
And maintenance, I mean, in recreation, it was for repairs and stuff, so I
Yes,
know
sir.
you're trying to get that money back from FEMA.
Yes, sir.
So you explain, it's a reason why you did it.
Yes, sir.
And they're over budget for a reason.
Yes, sir.
And I
And
know
for our
regulatory is trying to get their stuff
And
together, too.
for our citizens, I mean, our
Yeah,
citizens.
right, and
want their
I'm not,
recreation center back
I'm
open.
not, I'm just mentioning to you, we're going to have to add money to their budget
sir.
when
You got
we visit everything.
Thank
So,
you.
all right.
Yes, sir. All right, Madam Clerk, new business number 2.
New business number 2, Harahan resident and Little J's Donuts owner Joshua Dean requests permission to host Little J's Harahan Halloween Fest at Zerang Park on Sunday, October 27th, 2024, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., and to close a portion of Camden Street and Wilshire Street during the event, and a police detail.
Okay, we'll open for public hearing. Anyone wanting to speak on Little J's trunk or treat? All right, no one coming forward. We'll now close public hearing. And council discussion.
Just
I have a
real-
couple, go ahead.
Oh, real quick message from Josh. He apologizes for not being here tonight. He's having to work extra hours. There's COVID going around his shop, so he's wasn't able to make it. So just, he asked me to put this on the agenda, just a little rundown of, he does this thing usually in his parking lot. He's kind of outgrown his parking lot and wants some additional space and was looking for a place to host it. This is just for him to begin the planning process. There will be similar formalities like the Harahan Music Fest as far as the CEA to use the property and things like that. So he's asking to be able to use the property, to shut those 2 streets down for a few hours, and starting the process of getting a police detail. He's going to get with the chief about that if he hasn't already.
No, this is first I'm hearing it.
So he's going to be getting with the chief about that. He wants to put a stage out there. They have a DJ and a band lined up. And it's basically a trunk or treat that's kind of blown up. And he's kind of excited and wants to keep it in Harahan. So the reason it can't be done at the playground, there's a lot of construction going on at the playground with the memorial wall. And that week they'll be starting the installation of the play set, which was already pushed back because it was initially going to go during Night Out Against Crime. So we pushed that back already. I'm trying not to push it back again. And this is a nice active area for it to be held. So
If we would push it back again, it would get pushed back a couple months.
yeah, not until like mid-December almost.
Yeah, so that's one reason we try not to push
Just
it
because
back.
of the playground installations work tempo, there are other playgrounds they're installing.
So I'm fine with it, definitely in concept. Question was, is COS okay with it? Because we're shutting their driving access, vehicle access down in the building.
Josh told me he spoke to Kaz, and he spoke to B Avenue across the street, and they're all in favor.
Yeah, well,
I didn't personally.
The Avenue's not closed, right?
No, but it'll be a parking issue, but I mean, I think they're participating in the event, they're gonna be
Yeah,
open
they're
to sell
gonna, they're gonna
food.
get business, and I think COS is gonna be happy because it's gonna draw people
Yeah,
that
so-
eat at the restaurant.
So they won't be, I mean, they'll be serving some, snacks for the kids and sodas and stuff. They won't be serving any alcohol. You'll have to go to Cause or Bienvenue for that.
Right.
And what was the other?
And so my other question was,
Yep.
and I know the answer is, we don't know, but Chief, how many, a detail would it be? For something like this, you're closing 2 streets off.
Probably going to require at least 4 officers to close the street.
Yeah.
And are they going to be passing out candy in the trunks? Are they
Yeah.
going to set up tables?
So
How are they going to set up cars
He wants to.
around Zorin Park?
I mean, he's going to coordinate with you, but I think the idea was to set the trunks on the street so people can park on the street and leave the grass area as open play
Walk in
for
the park.
games
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
So they'd back up into the
Backing
park.
Yeah, they'll back up into the park.
So the
yeah.
kids would walk in the
Right.
park majority.
Right, exactly, yeah.
So you're going to have to block off, just like for the fest, you have to block off more
And,
than
and the
just
key
Camden and
is gonna
Wilson.
be, I mean, we're gonna need the police there, we're gonna need a light set up.
Barricades,
I
yeah.
mean, because it's gonna roll into the evening. For people parking back on Dickory side, so, I mean, that's the only little issue is crossing Hickory. We need definitely officers there
But
with
we
lights
have-
to slow people
We
down.
have one light tower. I'll reach out to the parish and see if we can, I've already reached out for light towers
It's
to borrow
Halloween, let
some
it
from
be done.
EOC to light that up. So
Yeah.
I'll get with him.
Yeah. And then the other thing I was going to say is he did coordinate, or he is coordinating with Chantel at the farmer's market to make sure their setup doesn't interfere with the farmer's market earlier that day. So they'll still have the farmer's market, presumably they'll still have the farmer's market that day.
So then I'm just going to state that it would be appropriate for us to amend this, as we've done with others, saying, subject to approval by the Harahan Police Department as to detail issues and lack of objection by Caz's Restaurant.
Sure. I'm okay with that.
And I make a motion that we amend it by adding
Second.
a comma where the paragraph currently ends, police detail, make that a comma, and do subject to HPD approval as to details and non-objection by Caz's Restaurant.
Second the amendment.
Okay, we have amendment by Councilman Buddy, second by Councilman Johnson. We'll open for public hearing. Anyone want to speak about the amendment? No one coming forward. We're now closed public hearing. All in favor to amend new business number 2?
Yay.
Yay. 4 yeas, 1 absent. And now we want to vote on new business number 2 as amended. We'll open for public hearing. No one coming forth. We'll close public hearing.
Move to approve as amended.
We're going to move to approve as amended by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Buddy. All in favor?
Yay. Yay.
4 yeas, 1 absent. So, Madam Clerk, please note for the record.
The farmer's market's not going to be there. They know they're off that Sunday, right?
No, they're going to be in the morning.
They're gonna be
He's gonna be in the
early.
evening.
Oh, he's going to be in the evening?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's right.
Park's
It
going
did
to
say
get some
4.
use.
Yeah, it is. I like it.
Yeah, 4 to 8.
All right, Madam Clerk, new business number 3.
New business number 3, a letter from Judith Romaine on behalf of St. Rita requesting assistance in planning the annual Feast of Christ the King procession. The procession is scheduled for Sunday, November 24th, 2024, after the 11:30 a.m. Mass. In the past, the city of Harahan has been most gracious to provide barricades and/or a police escort as we process around the route. I respectfully request the inclusion of this event on the city council agenda to obtain the necessary approvals.
Okay, we have open for public hearing for new business number 3. Anyone want to speak about new business number 3? We'll close public hearing. Council discussion on new business number 3. No council discussion. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
4 yeas, 1 absence. Madam Clerk.
Address the council.
If anyone would like to address the council, please state your name and address at the podium. No one coming forth to address the council. We'll now close address the council. Madam Clerk.
Secretary's report for August 2024, total revenues, $529,209.72. Reports?
Chief?
Good evening. A few things real quick. Some events coming up. As we've been talking, the Night Out Against Crime is going to be held at the playground on October 15th, starting at 5:30 to 8:30. It's going to be on the east side of the playground. We'll have food, music. I believe the sheriff's going to land the JPSO helicopter on the field. We've gotten permission to do that. So bring the kids out, come enjoy the night, and meet the Harahan Police Department. And I'm sure all the city elected officials will be there too. We've invited some other local agencies to also come and participate with us. We have Halloween night coming up soon, sooner than we can imagine. Years flying by, but it seems Halloween night is getting larger and larger in the Imperial Woods area, and now they're also having larger crowds showing up
It's
in
kind of spread out.
Harahan
Yeah,
Oaks.
it's not very
So,
centralized anymore. It's like really spread out now.
Right. So I've called on some of the other agencies, other constables and other departments, and they've agreed to help send extra officers into the city of Harahan to help us with the large crowds that are starting to form. There's usually a haunted house I believe, on O'Neill, and it draws a large crowd. Last year, we had some outside visitors that came in, and we ended up having a large fight. So we need to have everybody cooperate. Dosha will be shut down. We're not going to allow vehicles on that roadway during this time period. So Halloween night's a fun night. I believe it's a Tuesday this year, so everybody come out and enjoy themselves, but be safe, and as always, check the candy for the parents and the kids afterwards. The Christmas parade is going to be December 14th this year, starting at 12 o'clock. Anyone wishing to participate or be a part of the parade, reach out to my assistant Kathleen. 504-737-4800, and she'll send you the information that's requested and needed for you to be in the parade. If you do have an organization that wants to be in the parade, you'll have to provide your own transportation, your own float to be in the parade. But we encourage everybody to come out, participate. We had a large crowd last year. We had a beautiful day. Hopefully, it'll be a little bit cooler this year and not as hot. But it was a beautiful day last year, so come out for that. Francine came through last week. I want to thank the Harahan Police Department, the Fire Department. Everybody worked really long hours. Everybody working together. I know I was asked several times where certain people were, and I can assure you the mayor, Jason, Eric, we were all out there. The council were all involved with pre-meetings before Francine decided to come through. I want to thank the council, the fire department, everybody worked together. I was out till about 2:30. We did take on a lot of water in the city, but it did drain. But overall, I think we made out pretty good, but I'll let the mayor and Eric talk about that. We did have 11 units on the street during the storm. We had 4 units that actually had 2-man cars, 2-man unit in there. We had our high water vehicles available. They were ready to roll if needed. And again, it was a great team effort by all the agencies in the city. Even maintenance was out late helping secure the city. School zones are back open. School is back open. We're writing a lot of tickets and we're doing a lot of enforcement in those school zones, and that goes even for school bus drivers. We did write 2 school bus drivers tickets for speeding in the school zone. So slow down, honor those school zones. Want to thank Chuck over at the bowling alley. They provided some meals after the storm for the guys to get something to eat. We appreciate that. The senior center was set up to be used as a evacuation rest area if needed. Thank God it wasn't needed. But I would encourage everybody to download the Harahan Police Department app. There's a lot of information being pushed out on that app that gives good information. I know sometimes it gives more weather reports, but you can limit the number of those that you receive. But it's a great source for us as the city to get information out to the residents and the citizens. Again, we want to honor Carlo. He was a big help to me for the department and all, and rest in peace. And then the Dad's Club for St. Rita, I believe they're having their trunk or treat coming up. There's a lot of activities coming up. So just be aware and keep your residents, keep us all safe. If you see something, give us a call. Real quick on the statistics, we had 912 calls for service last month. We had 11 vehicle accidents. We issued 232 citations. We ended up having 10 patrol requests of residents that were leaving, going to be away from their homes to have their homes checked. Patrol requests were 120. We did over 1,400 business checks throughout the month. Traffic enforcement, again, we did 382 traffic enforcements last month. We had 65 medical calls. We had 45 misdemeanor arrests with 75 charges. 16 of those were felonies. 31 were misdemeanor, 18 were city, and 10 traffic arrests. Narcotics still seems to be a problem. People want to come into our city and bring stuff that they're not supposed to. We will make arrests on narcotics. We did have one traffic stop made on a vehicle that was speeding. Through the investigation, it was found that there was a stolen gun in the car, and the gun had been used in a homicide in New Orleans. So it's coming to our city. We got to make sure we take care of our department. We got to pay our guys to keep them. So far, we're doing a pretty good job of retaining them, but there's other departments that are offering more money, and I'm always going to fight to get these guys more money because they do a great job. We had 2 vehicle burglaries. We had 2 attempted vehicle burglaries. We had 2 auto thefts in the city. We had 7 thefts. We had 1 identity theft, and I believe they were going to make an arrest on that. But again, if somebody calls you and you're not sure what they're asking for, if it's off the wall, call us and let us call them back, and we'll help identify whether it's a true call or not. If we are getting a lot of scam calls to residents, and we had 7 assaults. But overall, I want to thank everybody again for getting through. Don't put our guards down. We'll see. We still got another month or so to go for hurricane season. But I appreciate everybody.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Councilman Hasbell?
Just want to reiterate what the chief said. I'm proud of the team, how everybody worked together. I didn't expect anything less, honestly, how everybody worked together during the storm. It was a good job on everybody's part. Other than that, no report. Thank you.
Councilman Bodie?
No report.
Councilman Chatterling?
I'm going to reiterate the same thing they said, but just so the citizens know, the police chief, the mayor, the council, we work very close together. I heard a lot of people saying, the police chiefs putting all these information out about the storm. The police chief and the mayor are hand in hand working this app together. Just so y'all know, that app is basically set up for the Harahan Police Department. But we work hand in hand and we work together. We're not going to set up 2 apps. Nobody needs 2 apps on their phones. If something goes on in the city of Harahan, the Harahan Police Department is going to be aware of it. You'll be alerted as soon as possible. Anything, air pollution, he's going to be in charge of crime, but if we get any air pollution, anything like that, the fire department, the fire chief, if they have a gas leak somewhere and the fire department knows about it, they're going to let the police department know, and that's going to come out on that app instantly. So it is a Harahan Police Department app, but they all working hand in hand with every department in the city. If a road's closed, maintenance calls the police department and say, hey, we're closing this road. That's how we know. And they'll put that out and blast it to everybody. I'm going to tell y'all this is hard on me. Carlo Ferrero was a friend, a family member, a loved one. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him. I promise you that. I've been knowing this man since I was probably 6 years old, and I could go on and on. I mean, I'll take it to the railroad fair. When you walked in a railroad fair, you seen Mr. Carlo, he was buying you a snowball. He didn't care who you were. If you walked up to that snowball stand, he was buying you a snowball. I could go on and on. I know family members who had problems paying for their kids to go to school so they could finish that school year. Carlo Ferrero foot that bill. He was just a genuine man. He was a legend to this city. I could sit right here and I'll tell y'all right now, I'll sit here and say, if it goes on and on, I would sit there and say, if I'm making a decision for this city, I would sit there and think, what would Carlo do? And I can tell you right now, everybody don't agree with what Carlo would do. But I agree with what a lot of Carlo did. And when Carlo made that decision, it was what he felt was right for the city of Harahan. Like I said, I could go on and on. I mean, he's been just a family friend. I mean, tomorrow's going to be a hard day for a lot of people in this city. I mean, it's a tough loss. But in the same note, I'm excited. Carlo lived 95 years. He suffered the last 6 months. I know he had his ups and downs, but if we could sign up for 95 to live the lifestyle he lived and be in the shape he lived, where's the paper? Let's sign it. So it's a sad day, but in the same note, I'm excited. He lived a great life. He provided for this city. We lost something, just like the mayor said earlier. You go somewhere and say, oh, we're looking for this sewer line. We can't find it nowhere in the map. Call us, say, oh, that sewer line's not there. It's over here. And 95% of the time, he was dead on.
Time and time again. Huh?
So I appreciate it. I hope everybody takes their time, says their prayers, be thankful for what we have, be thankful for what we wake up every morning. I do know I spoke to his daughter a while back, and she says, Dad just sits there and he says, I just don't understand. I said, you look at your dad and tell him 95 years. That's what you need to understand. That's what happened. You did nothing wrong. 95 years, that's what took you. Thank you all, appreciate it. And that's it.
Councilman Johnston?
Well, that was great.
Thank you.
I can't say it that easy because my heart. But first, I want to talk about other things. Mayor, we have a big issue going on over at Mounds and Dickory. Amazon's building a big facility. They're going to have thousands of trucks going in and out of there every day. Dickory needs to be finished. When I was on the Jefferson Parish Council in 2019, we refinanced the bonds for Jefferson Parish, and we had $290 million that was new money came in, and each district got some funds to do some projects in their district. And I dedicated $16 million to do Dickory all the way to Jefferson Highway. That was in 2019. And nothing's been done yet. And I haven't said anything in the last 5 years. I've kept my mouth shut. But now that they're building that facility over there, there's going to be a lot of trucks going in and out, and that means it's going to be a lot of traffic. And that's the main way out of Harahan. When you go out of Harahan, you go down 9th Street, you go down Dickory. And we need to get another source. That's going to be more trucks coming down Hickory, and they're going to be congestion over there. So we need to just find out from the parish when they're going to finish Dickory. Is that a priority now that they're going to be building that big facility there that's going to create thousands, and they're going to have 18 wheelers going in there because they're going to be bringing in stock into the facility to distribute it around the parish. So if you could check on that, we'd really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Mr. Paul, and I'm glad you said that, because you listen to the parish, and I'll tell you, I own property on both sides of that project. I own property on Hickory, I own property on South Al Davis. And when you talk to the parish, like, well, it's not going to be big trucks, it's just going to be small vehicles making daily deliveries. The big trucks have to get there.
Right.
And I'll tell you right now, they talk about redirecting all that property to South Al Davis, and Dickory's a state highway. That traffic needs to go to Dickory, Mounds, and South Al Davis. They don't need to put all that traffic on one street. Understand it's going to be a big project. I mean, I see it every day. And we deal with the mess, but I'm in construction. I mean, hey, to build something, you're going to have a mess. Let's deal with it. They keep it clean. They're out there cleaning the roads daily. I think they're doing an amazing job right now, cleaning it and doing what they're doing. But it's going to be a fiasco. We need to be prepared for it. And like you said, Dickory, we need to fight to get Dickory open. I mean, I've sat in meetings and I've heard people sit here and say, oh, I don't want Dickory open ever. Dickory needs to be open as soon as possible.
Right.
Whatever we need to do to help speed that process up, we need to do it.
Well, at the time, back in 2019, it was $16 million to complete it. As you know, cost is
Probably
going up.
30
It's
now.
probably 25 something. But they put the money's been sitting in the bank, and in the last 3 years, interest is going up. So they invested millions of dollars, so they're probably getting a little bit interest on the money. So they probably got over 20 million. I don't know. I don't know what they got, but they may have to add a few million to it. But we need to find out when they're going to start working on that project. We need to get that road finished, because I know when Mayor Bodier knows that that's the economic. In other words, that's going to all the businesses on our side, they're going to eventually turn over like Anthony did. His building faces Dickory. Those businesses are going to eventually turn towards Dickory, and that's going to be the development of the businesses facing. The chief's got his place. He's got a driveway coming out on Dickory. People, his business is sideways, but that's going to be a development of Harahan for the businesses along there eventually.
Can I ask?
So we need to do something to get that thing going to Jefferson Highway.
Can I ask a question? So, once the decision is made is to finish Dickory, that's still what, a 2-3 year project?
Probably.
I'd
To
say a
do
year and a
that?
half, 2 years.
So maybe we need to talk to the council about what the interim plan is for the traffic not to affect Harahan, because the chief's right. He's over here saying that, that's going to negatively affect Harahan traffic-wise, and there's no benefit to Harahan from that facility. Not one. There's no tax revenue coming from it. Likely very few jobs coming from it. So, I think we need to sit down with parish council, parish development leaders, whoever they are, to figure out what the plan is for the traffic in the meantime while Dickory's not done in the next 2 to 3 years.
So I'm a stretch further, and I don't know, somebody could tell me if I'm wrong. Todd might be able to help me with this. When you make that purchase from Amazon, if they taking that and delivering it to New Orleans, that tax money goes to New Orleans.
That's right.
So that's not a great economic driver for Harahan. It doesn't matter where they're coming from. The only thing from what I'm hearing is we might get our package a day earlier from there. So I don't think it's even the biggest economic drive to Jefferson Parish. The people are ordering already. I mean, if anything, it's hurting the small businesses. It's hurting our tax dollars. But wherever you purchase, your location where the delivery is, that's the point of sales. That's where the tax dollar goes. So if they're taking product from there and bringing it to the West Bank, Kenner, Covington, Mandeville, that's where your tax dollar is going. That tax dollar is not even that's not even gonna stay in Jefferson Parish. Now, your property tax is gonna be there. I'm sure it's gonna be a multi-billion-dollar building, so they'll get property taxes on it. But it's a lot of wear and tear that comes with that property tax.
I think I read there's supposed to be 1,100 jobs or something
Yeah.
going to be developed.
I mean, and they might stop and buy gas here. Chances are they're gonna get their own gas station.
But to talk about the negative effects more, I mean, that stormwater that they're developing has to go somewhere, and guess where it goes? It's going to mounds, which is going to the pump to the river.
Yeah,
So,
I'm glad you said that because.
but that'll help, right? That should help kick that pump on that much faster. That's what they tell us.
That's what they say.
And I'm glad you said that because back to the storm issue is, I mean, I heard people talking, the pump wasn't on,
Pump was
Guys,
on.
I drove past that pump, it was running. I promise you, it was running early too. It was a lot of rain.
9
So,
inches.
The pump was running.
Yeah, 9 inches. So I just want, May, if you can call up and find out
Yes, sir.
what's going on, because we need to get that project going.
Yes, sir.
You know, the
Definitely do.
construction material that you see on that lot, New Orleans side of Hickory, right near Jefferson Highway. And it looks like road construction material. I don't know if that's where they're parking the equipment for the
Jefferson Highway.
renovation of Jefferson
Yeah,
Highway.
that's what it
Or
is.
if that's something to do with maybe the.
No, it's
I
Jefferson
think that's Bo
Highway.
Brothers for the road.
That's
Yeah,
Jefferson
I was
Highway.
kind of hoping.
I was too.
Hickory.
Yeah, when we first started seeing it,
I
when we
thought
first
I
seen him
saw
put it there, I'm like, yeah, here we go, let's go.
Also, I'd like to congratulate the chief and the fire department mayor and you guys for what y'all did during the storm. Y'all did a good job. I just want to let y'all know we were very happy, and people talked and told me, and I congratulate you guys for doing a good job. So thank y'all. And I just want to say, I can't speak about it for long because I'm going to break down. Carl Ferrer and I were very, very close. Very close. He was like a daddy to me. I love that guy. I knew I was going to break down. I told my wife I wouldn't be able to do it. But I love that guy. He was like a father to me. My daddy died when I was 15 years old. In the last 30 years, Carl and I have been really close. And, he was just a wonderful person. He was, like Eric said, he was a legend. He was an icon. He knew everything about the city. He was just a wonderful person. He would give you the shirt off his back. I mean, Eric told you stories. I know stories, what he would do for people. He would help people pay their rent. I mean, he would help people out. He just did so many things for people to help them in their life that they couldn't do stuff. It'd come to him and ask him for help, and he would help them. Eric was 100% right. He would do so much for people. And when I was mayor, when Vinny was mayor, and he was on the council when Vinny was mayor, and then the second term when Vinny was mayor, he helped Vinny. Vinny hired him to come and help him. And then when I became mayor, I got him on. He worked with me. He was so knowledgeable. He knew the city so much. And then when I got as mayor, Vinny came back as mayor, and Vinny brought him back in, and he helped Vinny with the city. And then when Vinny got out as mayor, he didn't come back because the next mayor, she didn't want him back. And then Tim Bodier came back in. Tim brought him back because Tim knew how important he was to help Tim. Tim was coming in as mayor, and Tim wanted help. He wanted to, Tim knew government. He was on the council for 10 years, right, Tim? But Tim wanted, being a mayor is not the same as being a councilman. And he asked Carlo different things like I did. I didn't know. I became mayor. I was on the council for 8 years. And when you become mayor, you have questions, and you ask somebody who knows better than Carlo Ferrera. I mean, he was an icon in the city. He was mayor for 14 years, and he was a councilman alderman for 12 years, and he knew this city so well. And it's not much you could say. He was a wonderful person. I'm going to miss him more than anybody. We spoke every day. I called him 2 times a day. We ride the city together. When he was working, he quit. The first of the year, he was going blind. He couldn't see. He couldn't drive. And he couldn't work anymore. It just got so bad, he was going to doctors, going to eye doctor, getting shots in his eyes because he wanted to get better. He tried so hard. And like Eric said, 95 years old, that's a beautiful life to live 95 years. I wish I could get it. I mean, I'll be 76 in 3 weeks. I'll never make it to 95.
I don't think you're going to get it, buddy.
I ain't making it to 95.
I don't mean to be that guy to break it to you. I don't think you're going to
I'll
make it.
take 85. But, you know, I'm rattling on, so I just want to say, I'm going to miss the guy. I'm going to miss him a lot. So that's all I have to say, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Paul. For me, I just want to get in, I certainly want to thank, the council, the maintenance department, Kelly and Keith with Blue Flash. They were amazing. We had to move generators at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. We had to get out to lift stations to keep the sewer system running, and we're hoping that no one had sewer backup in their house, but we knew that system was charged, and we worked all night long just trying to make sure that it was up, moving again. It was a lot of hard work. Police department was right there, supported us the entire way. Chief was literally almost by my side the entire night as we moved throughout the city, just making sure everything was going. And I think he really enjoyed coming to see the dynamics of how infrastructure works and doesn't work. So it was a great pleasure to have him with me throughout most of the night. Fire department's incredible, y'all. We have a fire chief that just knows the drill. And it's easy. It's easy when you've been through it as many times as he has, and his direction is so clear and focused, that we know what to do, when to do, how to do it, where to do it, and at the most expeditious speed we possibly can. And for me, this is my 6th hurricane. Since I've been mayor, I've been blessed with 6 hurricanes and COVID. And so, we all starting to really learn the drill. And Councilman Asbill's been with me every step of the way, and Councilman Buddy as well, through some of the challenges that the city's been through, and there's been quite a bit. Halsey Street Study Project. I want to let the residents back at Halsey Street know that we have met with the engineers. We do have a plan, and we should be reaching out to you very shortly to put a meeting, but we'd love to meet with you in your neighborhood. But I do want you to let you know that you're free to reach out to me, but I will be reaching out to you shortly because we do have a plan of attack, and we are ready to get motivated and try to see if we can get some funding from the state. We have a capital outlay request coming in. We're going to be asking for 2 major tranches of funding. One is to put a all-inclusive ADA playground at the Harahan playground, and number 2 will be to get the drainage set in place for the Halsey Street neighborhood, because as Colonial develops, we want to make sure that they can move their water as well. St. Rita has a trunk or treat October the 11th from 6 to 9. It's the St. Rita's Dad's Club. And have they communicated with you yet, Chief? But I'm sure they will. And so we just want to make sure you put that out there, because their trunk or treats are pretty incredible. Little Jay's, really kind of set the bar, but St. Rita has done a phenomenal job in their trunk or treats throughout the year. Me and my wife have attended quite a bit of them, and it's always been a fun time. Councilman Chatterling touched on the Harahan Police Department app, and we've certainly contemplated on putting a city app together. The problem is we don't really want to create brand confusion. We want the citizens to be able to go to one place at one point of contact and work through that app. We don't need 2 apps. I can tell you this, the people who run the Harahan Police Department app, they're very easy to communicate with, and they are phenomenal in the way they push information out. So believe me, I encourage you, if you do not have the Harahan Police Department app, it will be the way that we will communicate with you from here on out. That's including the administration, the police department, and for mostly what the fire department does as well. Please download the app on your phone. It is very, very important. And these guys do a phenomenal job, and I want to congratulate you on that and your department chief for having the vision and to get that app to as great as it was. I really love it. I look at it every day. I mean, the alerts are constantly going out. So thank you again for HPD for that app. And I'll finish with Mr. Carlo.
Mayor, before you get to that one, can you speak on Energy's behalf? How quick they had our power back on? Every lift station was back up and running by 8 o'clock
All
in
right,
the morning.
so thank you.
Also, thank Jefferson Parish for the communications we had with them through
Thank you.
EOC
All right,
and
so
everything else.
2 things what Councilman Chatterling touched on. Cynthia Lee and Jefferson Parish stays in constant contact with me. I've never, I don't want to say anything about any negative about any elected official, but I've never seen nothing like her. I mean, she's so phenomenal. She checks on us so many times in a day. We're included in every single meeting that the EOC has, and the way they communicate with us is just, I don't know, it really makes me proud to be a part of Jefferson Parish. And what they do and her team does and our councilmen do and our councilmen at large do, when it comes into some kind of storm prep or storm situation or even a post-storm situation, I've never seen nothing like it in my tenure as mayor under the leadership of Councilman Cynthia Lee Shang and the council there. She is phenomenal, and I can't even speak enough about how wonderful she is to work with. Jimmy Aiken, and I'm going to say his name, he is our energy rep, and I hope he don't kill me, but he is literally the best energy rep I have ever seen ever. I mean, I can call this dude anytime, day or night, and he answers that phone. And I'm telling you, sometimes I think he's psychic because he's actually on site before I can hang up the phone. And he gets stuff done faster than I've ever seen done. And I know everybody's got their woes with Entergy, and I think right now they're so focused on upgrading their system. I think that's where that general train of thought is. So some things may, not be taken care of as the way they should be maintained, but their focus is getting that energy grids and systems upgraded so we really don't have these problems in the future. And so I really support that vision and direction, and we'll just kind of deal with the point repairs as they come. Also, real quick, the Speaker of the House was here on Wednesday. The State Speaker of the House was here Wednesday, spending some time with us. I mean, there is a buzz in the state of Louisiana about Harahan. We're still the safest city in the state of Louisiana. Thank you, Chief, for that, absolutely, and our police department, who are phenomenal. But this city is an up-and-coming city, and the buzz is incredible about what we're doing here. We communicate with our legislative staff, our governor, our lieutenant governor, on a constant basis, and we really try to set the tone of what small-town Louisiana can do, because in my own belief, I think that the way we really invent and invigorate Louisiana is by small-town Louisiana and a grassroots movement like you've never seen before. The governor and I have several conversations about it, and I'm hoping, I'm trying to be the visionary to set that plan in motion, and I'm certainly open-minded to other mayors that do things better than me, and we love getting out through the state and learning from them. But it is quite an honor for the State Speaker of the House to come down and spend some time with you, and that just brings me to our state delegation, Big John Ilg, State Representative Big John Ilg, and State Senator Kirk Talbert. I mean, look, Harahan, I think, is in the best spot it's ever been in the history of Harahan at this moment in time, because I think that we do so well, and the relationships that we have built throughout the years are really starting to pay dividend. As well as, when we do get funding, we get out, we make sure we honor that funding, we make sure that we treat every penny like it's our own, and we treat, we get every ounce of juice out of that penny to be fiduciary responsible, and we make the legislature proud. And for that, they continue to contribute more and more and more to our community. And it is wonderful. So I'll always tell you this: if you ever see State Senator Kirk Talbot or State Representative Big John Ilk, thank them. Because let me tell you, they are phenomenal, and we do a lot of stuff. And for that even matter, Senator Cameron Henry, who sits right next door to us, he's just as incredible. He has a passion and a drive and a love for Harahan, and he doesn't even represent us. So always thank him. And then again, I'd like to finish with Mr. Carlo. And Mr. Carlo worked with me up until just a few months ago. And it was phenomenal to have him by my side. It was phenomenal to have that institutional knowledge. It certainly made me a better mayor. It certainly made me a more efficient mayor, a more fiduciary responsible mayor. I've seen him correct engineers on plans. I've seen him correct engineers and be right. I will greatly, greatly, greatly miss that. And so, I've got the benefit of that. The next mayor has the benefit of me and Councilman Johnson. So hopefully we can give you some right answers. I know if we don't have the right answer, we probably really can embellish. Yeah. But Mr. Carlo actually knew the right answer. And again, I will miss him so much, y'all. He was a very wonderful gentleman to work with, always pleasant, and so many stories to tell, so many hours of time we spent together. I'm going to miss that greatly in my life. So I wish you guys, you know, as you move throughout the city, you know, and you see someone that's a member of Mr. Carlos' family, you know, thank them, because they gave that man up, you know, for his love, and his love was the city of Harahan. And they had to deal with that, because they had to compete with that, because that's what he cared about. And so thank them. And, you know, thank your neighbors. Get out, talk to somebody, put the damn cell phone down. You know, go say hi to somebody on your street, and be the community that I know that we can be, and I know that we are. So I just want to say thank you and good night. And Madam Clerk.
Oh, services tomorrow.
Yes, the services are tomorrow at St. Rita. I believe they start at about 10:30.
9:30.
Well, 9:30 is for family, and then 10:30 is for,
9:30 to 12 until
oh, 9:30 till 9:30 till 12.
12 o'clock church.
So, and the mass will be held at 12 o'clock, and I'm sure that it is going to be, you know, we'd love to have everyone in the city of Harahan come out and wish him goodbye. And I'm pretty sure that everyone in the city of Harahan will probably be there. And so, again, thank you, Mr. Carlo. I know you're listening, because I know you always do. And Madam Clerk, we'll let you wrap it up.
Pay bills. Bills paid in August 2024, total expenditures $994,023.54. No executive session, adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
We have a motion by Councilman Johnston, second by Councilman Asbill to adjourn. All in favor?
Yay.